So in the second part of the problem, we're asked to find the number of men who took more than 11 seconds to perform the task. I need to go back and look at the chart. I'll do this in a different color. So more than 11 seconds. So here's 11 seconds. And it looks like I'm at about, let's see, each little teeny square is 50. So that'll be 500, 600, that's at 650. So if we have 2,000 men total, and it looks like 650 men took less than 11 seconds, that would give us 1350 to be the number of men who took them longer than 11 seconds. Now it says 55% of the men took less than p seconds to perform the task. So 55% of, I need some room to work, 55% of 2,000 is 1,100. And so we want to figure out how many seconds that is. So let's look at 1,100. I'm going to go back to the other page. So I'm at 1,100. That will be right about here. And here's 1,100. And this isn't exactly on a line, so I'm going to have to estimate that. Looks to me like that's at about, let's guess 13 and a half. And that's what the answer key says, so we're going to go with that. 13 and a half seconds would be p. So let's talk about that again. 55% of the men took less than p seconds. So 55% of 2,000 is 1,100, and then we're looking to see 1,100 people were less than what value, and we got 13.5 off the chart. Alright, in the next part, we've got a grouped frequency table, and they're asking us to just fill in the remaining numbers. So we know that there are 500 people between 5 and 10 seconds, 850 people between 10 and 15 seconds, and now we want to figure out how many people between 15 and 20 seconds. So you're going to go from here, 15 to 20. How many people is that? That looks like we've got 17, 1850, I'll put that over here, 1850 minus 1250, 1350, so that gives us 500 people in that little range. So A is equal to 500, and then using the same technique, you should get 150 for part, the answer to B is equal to part 2 of that. Now, in part D, oh, that was the A and B above. Oops. 500, 150. In part E, they ask us to use our calculator to find an estimate of the mean time. So let's go back and talk about how we put grouped data into the calculator. So I'm going to, first of all, I need to find the midpoint for each one of the different ranges of values. So halfway between 5 and 10 is 7.5. Halfway between 10 and 15, 12.5, 17.5, and 22.5. Go over to Stat and Edit, and I need to clear my stuff out here. Sorry about that, guys. Clear. in L2, clear. And then I'm going to put the midpoints into list 1. So I'm going to have 7.5 and 12.5 and 17.5 and 22.5. And then I need to go back and put the frequencies into list 2. And that's going to be 500 and 850. Now Thomas, this is a problem. You keep asking about follow-through points. This is a problem where you would definitely get follow-through. So if you're doing the work and you're using the frequency that you came up with for A, so let's say you didn't get 500, but you used something else, you would still get credit for that. And then 150. So now I need to go back to stat. I'm going to calculate one variable statistics, but I have to tell the calculator, you know what? I put some stuff into L1 and I put it into L2. So please, please, please know that I've got some grouped data. So when you do that, you've got one variable statistics, because you weren't looking at two variables, you were just looking at one, but you were including the frequencies. So we used the calculator, and the mean time is equal to 13.25. Now, you can write down the exact value because it was 13.25, or because it doesn't specify otherwise, if you say that x bar is equal to 13.3 seconds, they'd have to give you credit for that because that would be 3 sig fig. And then the standard deviation of the time, you'll write down the standard deviation from the calculator, and that's going to be 4.41 seconds. Let's see. Everybody who performs the task in less than one standard deviation below the mean will receive a bonus, and Pedro takes 9.5 seconds. So here's what we need to do. We need to take the mean, 13.25, subtract the standard deviation of 4.41, and we end up with, what do we end up with? 8.84. So we have to see, did Pedro take less than 8.84 seconds? No, he did not. No, I'm sorry, Pedro. Pedro does not get a bonus. He took longer than 8.84 seconds.